Welcome to a place where hearts unwind, infinite threads that gently bind, love and compassion in every line. Together we rise through space and time.
Welcome back to Infinite Threads. I'm Bob, and today we're diving into a special episode, number 109, and it's a big one. Because we're going to talk about something I don't think gets enough attention. What actually happens to you over time when you choose love, when you live from it, when you make it your path, your practice, your way of showing up in the world again and again. We talk a lot on this show about the why love matters, why it's the truth, why it's healing, why it's worth it. But what about the when? What about the changes that unfold, not just in the moment, but over days, weeks, months, years even? What's the timeline of transformation? Let's walk through that together, step by step, because I think it matters, especially for those of you who are just beginning this journey, or who feel discouraged, or who wonder if any of it is actually working. I want to show you what happens when you keep showing up for love. Well, in the first week, you feel weird. Let's be honest. I mean, you're not used to saying this kind of stuff. You're trying to respond with love instead of sarcasm or defense. You're pausing before you speak. You're asking yourself, is this coming from a place of love? And that alone slows you down in a world that wants you to react fast. And at first, it feels uncomfortable, unnatural even, maybe even phony because you're not used to it yet. It's like switching your dominant hand, but you're trying, and that's the beginning. The people around you notice. Not always positively. Some might test you. Others might act confused. A few might feel threatened, especially if they benefit from your old patterns. But a couple will soften. They'll feel it. They might even say thank you, or just smile a little more. Something shifts. In the first month of doing this, you start noticing how often you used to brace for conflict. How much time you spent in defense mode. How many thoughts were rooted in fear or judgment. It's really eye-opening. Now, instead of fighting every battle, you start picking peace. Not because you're avoiding, but because you're prioritizing. You notice how often people just want to feel seen, how rarely anyone really listens, and you begin doing that more. Listening, not to respond, but to understand. You begin to grieve a little because you see how long that you've been carrying pain that wasn't yours, pain you passed on, pain that made you hurt others, or shut them out. And you don't shame yourself. Not now. You sit with it. You let love into the places you used to ignore. And it begins to feel like healing, guys. And by the third month, you start realizing how often other people are just scared. Not mean, not evil, just scared, just in pain. Just doing the best they can with what they were taught. This does not mean you excuse harmful behavior, but you stop personalizing it. You don't carry every offense like a badge. You let more things pass through you instead of into you. Forgiveness becomes easier. Not always, not for the big stuff, not yet, but for the daily things, the missed text, the rude customer, the driver who cut you off. You breathe, you bless them silently, and you move on. You don't need as much drama or validation or control. You are lighter. Then 6 months in, your relationships begin to shift. Some fade, and that hurts. But you start attracting new ones. People who meet you in this frequency. People who recognize love when they feel it. People who've done their own work or are hungry to start. You stop needing to fix everyone. You realize your presence is the gift. That showing up whole, calm, kind, that does something different and wonderful. It plants seeds, and you just trust those seeds now. Even if you don't see them bloom, you notice beauty more. Nature, music, small kindnesses, they hit you differently now. It's like your soul is less numb, like you can actually feel joy without guilt. And you're not chasing perfection anymore. You're just choosing alignment. Then 1 year into this, you have bad days still. Let's not pretend you don't. You get tired, triggered, frustrated, fed up, but you recover faster. You apologize quicker. You don't spiral like before. You don't carry everything with you. You've built something inside you, a kind of sanctuary. And even when the world goes nuts, even when grief comes, even when people disappoint you, you have somewhere to return to, a center, a thread. You start seeing others differently, not as categories, not as threats, but as part of you. And the more you love, the more you realize it was never about you being better. It was always about you being open, more connected, more human. You become someone who brings peace into rooms, someone people feel safe with. And that, my friends, that changes everything. It changes the world in ways you may never even see. But you know it. At that point, you feel it. So if you're just starting on this, or if you feel you're halfway in and it's going too slow, too hard, too vague, I want you to hear this. Love is changing you. You won't always notice it, but it's happening. Every time you choose patience instead of panic, every time you forgive instead of blame, every time you stay soft instead of shutting down, you are becoming who you were meant to be. So keep going. The timeline isn't linear. It's not perfect, but it is real. And the more you love, the more you'll feel it. This is what you were made for. It really was. Thank you guys for walking with me along this part of the thread. I'll see you in the next one, and I want you to always remember, I love you very, very, very much, and the whole bunch of us do. And you know what we need you to do? We'll pass that on. Later, Gators. Love you guys.